let's talk about yesterday, which was the 40th anniversary, the 40th birthday of the Mac, which I will say I was a little like taken back by how many people were like, happy birthday, inanimate object. Like, it just seems weird to me. But I jumped in eventually because I did get a little nostalgic about my first Mac that I ever had. So I think it'll be fun to talk about that and get your thoughts on your first Mac. And I mean, 40 years, that's a long time. And it's one of the most important Apple products of all time. So let's start with you, Hartley. What was your first Mac that you ever owned personally? Actually, what was the first Mac you ever used, whether it be in school or at someone's house? And then what was the one that made you like, that you bought, that you're like, I have to have this for myself?
The first Mac I remember using was one of the white plastic MacBook models. And they were kind of great. I still love that design. With the backlit logo, people always seem to get inexplicably angry with me when I say that I want another plastic MacBook, but I do. I think it would be lighter. I think if it could hit a lower price point, and they did just look great. Very unique when you compare to what laptops looked like at that time, and these massive, just hunks of black plastic. And then the first Mac that I owned was a 2009 21.5 inch iMac, which I loved and used for like 7 years. I used it until basically I truly had used it beyond its natural lifespan. And yeah, that was just a great all-round machine.
What were you using your Mac for at that time?
Just schoolwork, and it was kind of the machine that really sort of opened the internet up for me. I used to do like little, I don't know, when I was a kid, like stop motion animation videos, and old YouTube when it used to be in its early days. When you think about sort of it was a very distinctive experience, YouTube, at that time, with the memes and particular YouTubers, and even just the UI of it's very nostalgic, and I really associate that time as well with my iMac, which I still kind of miss because I haven't actually had an iMac since then. I went straight to a MacBook Pro after that, but I kind of do want to go back to an iMac because I have very fond memories of them. But what about you?
My very first my very first Mac that I ever used was the iMac G3. Back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, when I was in elementary school. The old transparent colors, and those were so good. We literally only used them for playing games, and the games were like educational games. Fraction Munchers, fantastic game. We would play Oregon Trail. I mean, just the classics, you know. That was just another lifetime ago, it feels like. I actually have a purple transparent G3 here. I don't know if it works, and in fact it probably doesn't, because during our move I dropped it, so I have to put that back together. I think it's okay, but yeah. So the G3 was the first one, but then I bought my own Mac because like through school I was, at home the family computer was a PC, maybe like a Gateway or something, a Dell, I don't know. But then like when I got into school, like high school, and I was doing like our media, it was interactive media, so we would learn how to like do all the stuff that I basically do now. We had those cinematic displays, remember those? Before they were called like Thunder, they were the cinematic displays, or the cinema displays. Yeah, not cinematic, cinema displays. Those were like, and we had the tower, the Mac Pros, whatever. What were the G4? I don't remember the names. I always forget. But those were like the best of the best, and we had those. Like we only had one that was like at a station that like if you wanted to really do something crazy, you needed to rent it out like and go to that. But then everybody's workstation was like what was the iMac in 2005? Do you know? Or 2006?
I think that was where that was that was in that same
G5?
era, the white plastic, just before we moved to the unibody.
Those were so good. We weren't up to date. They were discontinued in 2006, but we were still running those bad boys. and everybody had their own. There was probably like 15 kids in the class. It was a very limited class, and everybody had their own white G5 iMac. We might even had some G4 sitting around there too. What was that Mac Pro called back then? Or it wasn't probably a Mac Pro, but what was it? G4 maybe? Yeah, the Power Mac G4. We had those. I don't think we had the cubes. Um, and even the iMac G4, where it has the little like bubble bottom base, which I actually have one. I can't pick it up right now, but it's above me on the shelf here. Those were cool, but those were like kind of fading out as I got in. But then to move on here, those were what I used up until 2006 when I finally convinced my parents to get me a Mac Mini, and that was the 2006 Mac Mini. I don't know what generation it was, but it had the like glass top with the aluminum body. It was pretty cool.
What Macs have you had since then in a personal capacity?
Okay, in a personal capacity. So then, okay, I had the Mac Mini to high school. I don't know that I might have taken it to college, honestly, with me and a monitor. And then I got my freshman year, I got a laptop for sure. And I got the MacBook Pro, the black one. What was that one? That was just a MacBook Pro, right? Or was it just a MacBook?
I think it was just MacBook, the black one.
Yeah, the MacBook. It's basically like the same white one, but they made it black.
Yeah. It looks great.
I love that thing. It was awesome. I got really drunk one night though in college, and I was in a loft and my desk was underneath it. And sorry to be gross, but yeah, I threw up and I missed my trash. My trash can was on a hook, like on the bed hanging, and I missed the trash can, and it went all over the Mac. Which, like, yeah, you think like, all right, that's gross, and you got to clean it, right? Somehow, unless I did something and I just again was too drunk to even know. The next day, I turned it on, and I don't know if something like seeped into the display or what, but there was just like half the screen was all messed up, dead pixels, just black. I don't know what happened, and there was like just dried up stuff in between the hinge, and it was disgusting.
Lovely.
I did have them clean it out and like get it fixed, and it cost a lot of money to get that fixed. But I still used it up until I think the next year when I really started doing audio production for my major, and I got maybe it was the 2009 MacBook Pro. Maybe it was 2 years later. I loved the one in between that. What with the different keys like that. Remember that MacBook Pro with the like, it was the silver, aluminum, whatever MacBook Pro, and it had those like very, I don't know how to describe the keys, but it was like the best keyboard on any MacBook Pro ever. And then I got
spongy.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about them, but I loved it. And then I think I got the one after that where they like kind of changed that a little bit. Same body design. And I had that for a while. Yeah, they slimmed it down. I didn't like that as much. And then I got a iMac after college. So I used that whole thing till college was done. After college, I got an iMac, like a 21.5-inch, I believe. And then I bought a MacBook Pro and then an iMac Pro, and that was the last of it. That was the last things that I purchased on my own, because that brings me up into my MacRumors time. I think the iMac Pro was even during MacRumors time, but I still bought it for myself because that was unnecessary of a purchase at the time. And that was it. And then ever since then, we got review units and purchased our own stuff, and everything was mostly for work, but yeah, good times. The Mac was a fun time. 40 years. Congratulations.